All right, good morning, everybody. We're joined by South Carolina head coach Staley, junior Tiffany Mitchell, and sophomore Ellen Ibiam. I think I probably said that wrong again.
Other way around?
Yeah, close. Just like the last couple days, coach will give an opening statement, and we'll open it up for questions for the student athletes. And once we wrap up with them, we'll keep coach here for a little bit longer for some more questions. So, coach, an opening statement, please.
We're just excited to be still participating in the NCAA tournament. I think our players are extremely excited, and we're ready to play on Tuesday.
Dave?
For each of the players, Coach mentioned something yesterday about challenging Elena to play mean against Cal State Northridge. What did you guys see from that on the court, especially when she came back in the game after that first substitution?
Elena accepted the challenge. She came in and she gave us some great minutes. She scored for us. She got stopped. She did exactly what Coach wanted her to do. So I think her production was really great for us yesterday.
Joe?
For Ellen or Tiffany, this matchup coming up to be much different than the one you just had. This team's much bigger, 6'6" center. You have the size this time around that you haven't had the last couple of years. So describe what the matchup's going to be like for you guys going into tomorrow night. I know it's going to be a big physical matchup for both teams.
Like you said, they have a lot of size. We have size too, so I think it'll be a great matchup. I just know, I trust in our post players that they're going to take on that challenge, and it's going to be a good matchup.
Tiffany, they also like to shoot a lot of three-pointers. I think they might have hoisted maybe 750 this year. How important is it for you to be guarding the ball up top and not letting them get it to the perimeter?
We're just going to have to hone in on the three-point shooters, because that's where most of their production comes from, their guards and them taking them outside shots. So if we can eliminate that, then we should be fine.
Jada?
Can you all describe Khadijah off the court? What's her personality like, things like that?
Off the court, Khadijah is just like she is on the court. She always has a lot of energy. She's always getting us hype, cracking jokes. And whenever we're down, we can always count on Khadijah to make us laugh and always be the goofball of the group. So she's funny.
Is there any situation here since you've been here in Seattle that kind of stands out as a manager?
Not yet, but I'm sure one's coming.
In the back there?
You cover that size that we present, you guys plan on doing anything to the offensive, maybe selling more outside shots opposed to what's that?
No, not really. We're still going to stick to our game plan. We're not going to change anything just because they have big post players.
Joe?
But as you listen to the year back, the last couple of years when you got to this tournament, if you look at your two losses that you guys had a disadvantage from the size standpoint. Now it's neutralized with what you have now. It's like giving you more confidence going into a game like this. Perhaps you guys have been riding it all season, knowing that you have the interior players now to run the style of offense you want to be able to execute in a game like this.
No, we know that we're still going to have to go into this game working hard. Any night anybody can be beat, so we're not going to underestimate this team. We're going to go in here with our game plan in mind and just execute the game plan.
Imagine the answer to this, but is there any kind of thought, I guess, to last season and being on the eve of that second game that he gets us?
Not really. I mean, that was last year. It's a new season, so we're just trying to, not trying to think about that and just go into this game and ready to play.
Anything else for the student athletes? All right, thank you, ladies, and best of luck tomorrow. Dave?
Dawn, thing about Elena playing mean that you mentioned yesterday. Have you had to challenge her a lot during this year? It seems like she's pretty much been consistent throughout the whole season.
Just a few times in which I feel like we had an advantage if she imposed her will, and her will to play on both sides of the ball, to dominate. We talked to both of our post players about dominating in the paint on both sides of the ball, and sometimes Elena has to be jolted into the moment because I do think, part of, she's young and part of her mind is still in high school mode. So we have to jolt her into playing up to her potential because once she does, we look like a different basketball team.
Derek?
Coach, as physical as the SEC is, yesterday obviously a very physical game. Do you feel like that you guys kind of have an upper hand in this part of the bracket because of how physical your conference schedule is?
No, I think we're adjusting. Both the teams that will face Northridge last night and Oregon State tomorrow. I think they pose a little different challenge in playing on the West Coast. I do think it's physical. I think it's a lot more physical than we were able to play. I think it's officiated a little bit differently. It's not to say it's bad or good, it's just different. But I like it. I like the fact that we can play aggressive. I like the fact that we can get up and down and, kind of impose our will from a defensive standpoint. We just got to concentrate on keeping people in front of us so, they will have some difficulty from our defense.
In the back over here.
Coach, how do you get your girls not to think about last year and what happened in that second half of last year? So on taking care of business tomorrow.
Well, probably keeping them away from the media because you guys keep doing that. So we don't discuss last year. We really don't. I think we have a totally different basketball team, one that, has proven that, they can play with anybody. We're bigger. We are, people scout us a lot differently than they have in the past. And, what we need to do is really concentrate on what got us here. Just playing solid basketball, just playing within ourselves and playing the style of play that we played all season long.
Michelle?
Can you talk a little bit about your impressions about Oregon State and specifically Sydney Weeks?
Anytime you have a great point guard, you give yourself a huge opportunity to win basketball games and a lot of basketball games. Sydney is a little different point guard because she's long, she has great court vision. She can handle the ball extremely well, and they do a great job at putting her in positions to utilize all of her skill set. And I like it. I told when I met Coach the other day, I said it's a beautiful thing when you got a great point guard. I don't know if he thought I was talking about our point guard, but I was certainly talking about Sydney Weeks.
Dave?
Dawn, you mentioned that, how important it will be to keep players like Weiss and Gibson in front. How crucial will Mitchell and Sessions playing well defensively to kind of keep them off the perimeter, not let the ball get to the perimeter, to the three-point shooters?
Well, it's going to be a huge challenge for us. I think they're a little bit different than we faced all season long, where, the point guard has the ball 90% of the time. So we are going to be challenged to, maybe pressure her a little bit and, not have her handle the ball as much as they need her to handle the ball in that regard. But, it is what they do. It's their strength of their team. And, a lot of times when you play to your strengths, you get the ball in those people's hands. It's going to be, our challenge to force the hand a little bit and not allow her to control the tempo.
Joe?
Coach, you mentioned just a few moments ago about being on the West Coast for Oregon State provides them an advantage. Are you speaking from a crowd perspective, from physical energy, because they're on West Coast time? What exactly are you referring to when you say the West Coast?
Well, I'm referring to just, how the games are played. For us, I feel like you can, you're able to play a little bit more physical on the perimeter. And the game isn't controlled so much by the officials. So we're able to play a lot like we played last year, which is a good thing. And hopefully that continues throughout our stay here in Seattle, because I think it favors us. But I think our guards have been used to not touching and not, putting a hand on the ball handler.
Gina?
You've obviously talked a lot about just what you've built this program into. Oregon State's kind of in the same situation where Governor has come in 4 years, really rebuilt this program from nothing. Can you kind of just talk about a matchup between two teams who go to the 16 of programs that have kind of had to be built, and what has been the key for you in building this program?
Well, I think the key is getting players, talented players, because when it all is said and done, you need players to make plays. You can diagram, a lot of X and O, and if you don't have the players that can execute it, you're not going to go anywhere. I think, when I was at Temple University, we get to the tournament, every year, but yet, we exit early, and it wasn't because we got outworked. It wasn't because teams did things that we couldn't handle. It was because we got out talented. I think when you're trying to build a program, you're going to need players who are able to execute and play during this time of the year, make plays, and, take your program to higher heights. And I think both programs have done that.
Tim?
Don, how did you sell South Carolina early when you got there to get those players that you needed?
Oh, I think you have to first start with, what our coaching staff brought to the table. I think the fact that we have coaches who have played in the Olympics, we have coaches who have coached in the NBA and the WNBA, coaches who have been around USA basketball. So we got, those players and mainly their parents to believe in our vision, because it starts with the parents. If you're able to kind of persuade the parents of how, their child, their daughter will develop both on and off the floor, they tend to buy into that, and daughters usually listen to their moms, and we probably try to hone in on those parents who feel like their child will be in good hands with our coaching staff.
Jada?
Kind of taking that a little bit further, specifically with Khadijah, what did you see that about her in recruiting that would help you get to this number one status and hopefully a Final Four championship?
Well, we were very fortunate that we saw Khadijah play when she was very young, when we first got to South Carolina, and we knew that along with Khadijah there was some young talent in the state. But Khadijah stood out because she's a competitor. She plays the game like she loves it, and she actually had to tone her antics down because she really enjoys the spotlight and the moment. But sometimes it works against her, and I want her to, fully focus in on the task at hand, because sometimes she can get lost, in the bright lights, and she wants to, just give all of her personality. And when you're giving so much attention to the antics, you lose sight of the focus of getting our team organized.
Are you talking about on the court, or is she a big personality like Cynthia Cooper off the court too, kind of thing? Like,
Both. She was probably very similar to Cynthia Cooper, but we had to kind of get her to calm down a little bit because Cynthia Cooper could do it at the two guard, but when your point guard is out there going crazy, the rest of the team is going to go that route. But she's energetic. She's a student of the game. She loves to get better. She's always studying the game. She's probably watched more film on Oregon State than probably our coaches, and she wants to contribute. She wants to be the point guard that takes our program to a higher heights. Joe?
Coach, when you see a matchup of teams with size in the interior, you tend to focus on that, but how much does this perhaps come down to the guards being able to not allow the ball to get into the post on both sides?
Well, Oregon State presents a couple of challenges. One, they are long. They do have a big that we haven't seen, all season long. But the point guard is key to me. Sydney Weiss is key. You don't, she is the head of the snake, so to speak. So if we can somehow get her out of the flow of what she wants, what they want to do, I think it will have a trickle-down effect. They're balanced. They're truly balanced in the point guard, the bigs, and then they have wings that can stretch you out a little bit. So we're going to have to cover a lot of ground tomorrow night in order for us to win the basketball game.
Gina?
You've spoken to what Oregon State can do offensively, but defensively, last night they only gave up 36 points. That's kind of been their calling card all year. What do they do so well, and how do you try to negate that and attack that offensively?
Well, what they do is they stay in place. They force you to play with them in between you and the basket. So shots are always contested. They channel, they funnel, when opponents penetrate, they funnel them to the big girl down there in the paint, and she's done a tremendous job of blocking shots and protecting the paint. So they just play hard for 40 minutes, and we know going into the game it's going to be a tough basketball game for us, but somehow we're going to have to be able to use our speed against what they do.
In the back over here.
Coach, is there any game this season you can look back to and maybe take some pointers from when you say the point guard thing these two teams go, so whether it's Jasmine Lister or Megan Simmons, are any of those two compliments the kind of magic you're going to see tomorrow?
I think Reese is a little different in that she's long. They just, use the ball screens extremely well. And, she can flat out shoot the ball. And she's got great court vision. So she's got, what she doesn't have is probably as much experience because she's a freshman. But she's talented. I don't think anybody that we've seen has the skill set, the all-around skill set that she does. However, we've got to make her play both sides of the ball as well.
Got time for a few more for Coach. Derek?
Coach, as young as your team is, have you ever coached anyone like that, the way that they're able to keep their composure when there are runs in the games from the opposing team?
Well, I think Jasmine Lister does a good job at keeping her composure, but we've had pretty good success. But Jasmine Lister is probably 5 inches shorter, But Reese plays with such calm. She's poised. She's composed. She knows what she wants. She's very calculating in what she wants. We have to really concentrate on probably taking some of those things away. You're not going to be able to take everything away, but we have to somehow limit some of the things that she sees out on the floor, whether it's the three, whether it's finding other teammates, whether it's keeping the ball out of her hands. We have to juggle all of those things to increase our chances of winning. Joe?
Coach, you talked about the excitement of being able to play in a game like this. How do you sort of maybe bottle that up and harness it, knowing if you win, you go to the Sweet 16, and every single one of your players knows what's at stake here on a trip to California?
Well, I think, our kids are excited. It's the NCAA tournament. It's March Madness. It's an opportunity for them to get one step closer to, a dream of theirs to win a national championship, and this is the way to do it. So, for us, it's a business trip. It's nothing, we don't want to, sightsee or do anything. We want to win basketball games, and that's what we came out to do.
All right. Thank you, Coach, for your time, and best of luck.